Good morning and welcome to Heartbreak and Hope. We don't know what episode we're on. We're just going. It's the week of August 11th. You're going to get this recording on August 13th or 14th. And our opening words this morning come from Lin-Manuel Miranda in his book, Good Morning, Good Night, and Little Pep Talks for Me and You. So here are your good morning words. Good morning. Your pace today. No one else's. You can't be rushed. You can't be slowed down.
Good morning.
Good morning. So I threw a task at Sabrina just a few minutes before we got on this call, and in throwing it at Sabrina on short notice, it is an effort to throw it to the rest of you with a little more notice. This Sunday, our service is book communion. And in the book communion, we invite you to bring a book to give away. You will receive a book in return. So maybe more like a book exchange service. We do a lot of communions. Maybe we should call it a book exchange. And we're encouraging you to bring a book you love, a book that's meaningful for you, a book that you want to talk to somebody about, or even a book you hated but want to talk to somebody about. And so I was thinking about what book I would give away. And I've read this book multiple times. And the first time I read it, I got it from the library. And then somebody gave me a copy of the book, and I was so excited to have my own copy. But I've decided that since it was a gift to me, and it's one of my favorite books, it will be a gift to whomever gets it on Sunday. And so Sabrina and I are going to talk about books. And the book that I am going to give away on Sunday is Braiding Sweetgrass. Will it focus? It really wants to focus on my face. Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kimmerer. Indigenous Wisdom, Scientific Knowledge, and the Teachings of Plants. And I just love that book. And I love the writings of Robin Wall Kimmerer. Sabrina, do you have a book or five that come to mind when you think of your favorite book?
Every book I'm reading is my favorite book.
Ooh.
But I do have an all-time favorite that I've read a million times, and I've already given away copies of it. And it's a little-known story called Geek Love.
Okay, I'm not familiar with this.
Not many people are familiar with that, and it's kind of a horror-ish story about a family of carnival people who are carnival people in the old sense, like have sort of problem with their body or issue difference in their body, and they're all part of the same family who, like, the parents on purpose wanted their children to be different.
Hmm.
And so it's a huge metaphor for the other,
Mm-hmm.
but it's also a metaphor for what happens when very charismatic people that are othered take on, and the negative part of that, like it turns into one of these kids grows up to be basically a cult leader, and promises everybody can be othered. And so, like, it's what do we want? It's written by a woman called Kathleen Dunn that lived in the Pacific Northwest. And so the backdrop is the Pacific Northwest. It's written, well, it's a little bit, it was written in the 90s, I think. It's a little bit, maybe it didn't stand the test of time in terms of how it speaks of disability. But I have to believe that the intention was to show in graphic form what it feels like to be on the outside of society. And even when you say, I'm fine with in the outside of society by myself, I don't need the normies, how that is difficult because ultimately, and this is how I interpret it, what we need is connection to one another. And it cannot be found in just one family, one group of siblings. Um, so that it's a lot of themes that I keep coming back. It's not for the faint of heart, and people either love it or hate it. And if I can find another copy, I can bring it on Sunday. And but I have other books that are favorite. This is one that I keep reading just for the turn of phrase.
Thanks for sharing that.
Mhm.
I I was trying to think about why Braiding Sweetgrass was one of my favorite books. And there, on the surface, the thing that I love about Braiding Sweetgrass is the way that the author shows us that Indigenous knowledge and scientific knowledge are not incompatible,
Mhm.
that that in that in fact there is scientific proof that Indigenous practices can be beneficial. The thing that the reason I keep coming back to this book is that it reads like poetry. Just the word craft of the book is beautiful. Um, and the imagery she evokes um, is it's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. And there's so much in the book. I mean, it's not a skinny book.
Yeah, no, I'm familiar with it. So yeah.
Uh, but you can find something different each time you read it, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I was just reminded that I read on the news about um, sort of indigenous culture that they've done a study that the way some grieving that I think the Lakota tribe it's like a ceremony of grief
mhm.
works better than any grieving we can do unassisted. Um,
Hmm.
and I just read that yesterday. It's like they've done a study and they said this is better than therapy. This is for grief. It works better. It incorporates grief in your own life. And I suspect that it's because um, ritual and ceremony is an integral part of how we make meaning out of loss. So, um, yeah, and that is great. I'm reading the Serviceberry also by same author.
Yes, I've read The Serviceberry.
Yeah. Um, there's a lot there too.
There is a lot there, and that is a tiny book with a lot in it.
Yes.
It might be a nice refresh for our Thanksgiving service.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, right now, what am I reading right now? Oh, I'm reading um well, I'm reading a lot for school. And so we're reading collections of essays, and I just finished an essay about uh, two women who are of Cherokee descent who are from Oklahoma who drove the Trail of Tears
Mm.
from its beginning in Georgia and then to home in Oklahoma. And that was really powerful. And it was interesting because the author is telling the story about how she and herself and her twin sister experienced it differently. One of them traveled this route and ended up getting very angry, and the other one spent the whole time very compassionately and grieving, right? Like, what was it have been like for these people? You know, what was their experience like? Yeah.
Interesting.
Um, yeah. And for fun, I'm also reading what's it, the unbearable loneliness of Sunny and Sonia. Um, I'm reading it, and I've forgotten the title. It's the loneliness of Sonia and Sunny.
Mm.
Um,
For fun.
for fun. Yeah. It sounds more fun than it is.
Oh no, I understand reading stuff for fun that is, you know, of interest, right? Like fun is also, I'm interested in this. It doesn't have to be um escapism or any.
Mm. Hmm.
I am reading The Mushroom at the End of the World.
The mushroom at the end of the world.
It's a
Okay.
really good book and it's difficult. And I started it as an audiobook, which I do
Hmm.
a lot of um, when I do work with my hands, like
Hmm.
preparing for RE right now or driving.
Hmm.
And I had started it as an audiobook, and then I thought I gotta take notes because this is a book about the Matsutake mushroom and how it lives in overlogged forests, and you cannot cultivate it. Like you cannot artificially cultivate it. It's very rare and it's very prized in Japan.
But you have to overlog forests in order for it to emerge.
Yeah, like overlogged or destroyed somehow. So it's used as a like it's an interesting botanical or mycological phenomenon, but also this author is looking at how does the economics of this work then? And she goes
Hmm.
around the world because these things exist around the world. Again, she goes to like the logged forests of the Northwest to find it because there's that they exist there. They're not the same species as in Japan, but they're close enough that people are willing to pay enormous sums of money because it's such a rare food, such a luxurious thing. And so the economy feeds people that migrate there who knows how to look for it and find it. And it's this vision of when we think that, after the apocalypse for lack of a better word, there will be nothing. There will be things we don't understand because but there will be things. There will be not symbiotic relationship, but assemblages of things that are disparate, like people from Laos going to Seattle and going to to the forests to find these mushrooms and live there seasonally on their own. They're not hired or anything. They just know the mushroom is there. They don't eat it, but they make money out of it. And so this is such a reflection or you know um sort of like a storytelling of what the mushroom is, what the economics of this is. And it seems boring, but it's super interesting because it's making me think in a different way of what is possible.
Hmm.
And it's really hard to it's not fun. Like it doesn't read very well. But I think it's sort of scratching my brain in a direction that I wanted to go. Um,
Ooh.
just not as audiobook. Because as audiobook, then you get like all like I gotta take notes, I can't drive, I can either listen or drive or something like that. And for fun, since that audiobook didn't work, I'm re-listening to the Terry Pratchett series on Tiffany Aching, and like the We Free Men, A Hatful of Sky, so Wintersmith, and I'm up to Wintersmith, and then there's two more books. Uh,
Nice.
yeah, and that is fun. And also for religious professionals, the way they talk about witches in that book is sort of like vaguely reminiscent of a religious profession, what a religious profession.
Mm.
Unlike the wizards, they're not treated the same way. They're spoken of differently. And now that I'm a minister, I realize what it is that
Yeah.
that that wizards don't do, and that is um like everyday magic, pastoral care, heart stuff.
Yeah. I mean, in the Terry Pratchett world, wizards are not, they're academicians.
Mhm. Yeah.
Or sorry, academics. Whee! Let me just make up a word right there.
Well,
Um, they're academics. Yeah, they're not. Yeah, and witches and wizards are not the equivalent.
no. And
Which,
between witches, there is the people that want to look a certain way and the people that are real witches. So I'm enjoying that comparison.
I'm thinking about your mushroom and wondering if your mushroom is going to end up in my sermon in September about the beginning comes after the end.
We can only hope, right? There are two books on mushrooms, and one is technical scientific, and I don't remember the title of that, but it's sort of like about how mushrooms actually, you can never really kill a mushroom because it keeps, yeah, mushrooms are eternal because they keep regenerating. It's sort of like lobsters.
But
And
but you
because,
do have to. I mean,
yeah, they transform, but they
I
don't.
mean, because
And
like
so,
when you go moral hunting, it's good moral hunting practice to, tap the moral so that it sprinkles its spores before you harvest it.
right. And when so that science more scientific book, it's a popular science. Like it was a bestseller, but that is about how mycelia work together, and that makes a really good metaphor for no mushroom is ever alone, no mushroom ever dies. And I really like that. And then this is about societal collapse and
Oh
what
yeah.
imagine
Yeah.
happens if
Yeah.
we look at certain things that exist in an environment of collapse. I like mushrooms. Like both eating them.
And I have a running joke. The first year we were together, we went shopping for Christmas ornaments or Christmas something. We weren't actually shopping for Christmas ornaments because we have plenty of Christmas ornaments. But for whatever reason that year, um, like all of the Christmas stuff was cottagecore mushrooms and gnomes and stuff. And so ever since then, whenever we see mushrooms, we're like, mushrooms, mushrooms, mushrooms. We called it the year of the mushroom, but now it's just become the mushroom of our relationship.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. And gnomes are nice too. Yeah. So yeah, that's and I have the perhaps bad habit of starting a lot of books
Mm.
at once, and I get through them over
Hmm.
time. Um, and it usually happens when I'm reading something that is complicated
Uh,
so that I don't leave it. And so the mushroom at the end of the world is of this ilk, but I like it, but it's sort of like small doses. Um, and yeah, I recently read The Grapes of Wrath and very much enjoyed it. Um,
Speaking of things that are, pleasure reads.
uh, um, I realized I'd never read it. I'd probably read like Cannery Row, something else.
Mhm.
And this really struck me as being so close to the present day, the world of the migrant workers, um, the world of the Dust Bowl, all that seemed to echo in the present. So, yeah, that was for pleasure.
So, can I shift gears a little bit?
Yeah,
Can I shift gears a little bit?
yeah.
Is there have you ever read a book that you absolutely loved when you read it, and then you went back to read it, and you were like, uh, 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 I don't love this book anymore.
Oh, oh my God, yeah, I was just thinking about that. That didn't hold well. Um, it must be one of the ones like from the 80s, like Less Than Zero, something like that. It's not relevant.
Ooh.
I don't know. Like the problem it's sort of the same problem I have with like Pretty in Pink and 16 Candles. Like I can't remember a book, but it's
Yeah.
80s novels that then was made into a movie and was super popular. And then you go back to it and it's like, I can't even get through page three, you know? I can't
Well, and
remember.
there's some, I'll tell you mine, and maybe yours will pop into your head because
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
always when you start thinking about something else, it'll pop into your head. Mine, I think, has to do with being at a certain period or place in my life.
Mm,
So mine, I absolutely loved Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man,
mm,
James Joyce.
hmm
I loved it. I had to read it in high school, and I was just enthralled. And then I had to read it again in college, not very far apart, right? But that second read, I was just in such a different place that I was like, grow up, move on. Like, what is your problem? Like, get a job. Uh, and so, yeah, it was interesting to realize that some things we love have to do with the what moment we're in or life phase we're in or And so I'm sometimes afraid to go back to books that I love because that was such a heart-wrenching moment because I was so excited to read it again. And then I was like, uh, uh, oh, like that was not good.
Um, that's what, that's how I feel about books that I've liked. Um, I have stayed away from, and so I don't know if I hate it or not, from 100 Years of Solitude and Love at the Time of Cholera because I am afraid that it won't. But if I have to say youthful versus now, um, I I feel differently. That doesn't mean I don't like it. Reading
Mm.
Wuthering Heights.
I was just thinking about Wuthering Heights. So first of all, I love 100 Years of Solitude. But yeah, Wuthering Heights, man, like when if you're young when you read it, you're like, "Oh, this like storm-tossed lovers." And when you're older, you're like, "Oh my God, they need therapy."
Yeah,
Like
and also this guy's it's like bad, toxic.
yes, this is a toxic relationship.
Yeah. And so yeah, that's one. Like, but like I feel
Which
this,
just got made into a movie, by the way.
yeah, like which took liberties that it shouldn't have took because otherwise it doesn't seem so romantic. Like if you make
Right?
it through to the book, people might get upset. And like I haven't watched the movie The Odyssey. I don't think
Why not? I haven't either.
I don't think I want to unless it's free on my television, like um somehow because like whatever. The classics, I don't know. Sometimes I feel I ought to have read all the classics and I've read the Odyssey and I didn't find it. Actually, the Odyssey is better than the Iliad because the Iliad
I've
is,
read the Iliad. I've read the Odyssey.
and I had to read both in school. And so the Odyssey was more interesting because, frankly, there wasn't so much fighting and there was men turning to pigs.
I
But
mean,
like,
it's the original adventure novel, right?
it's on the road, right? Like he's,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Um, so yeah, no, there's probably a lot of stories that I feel that way about. And it occurs to me that the one that I said was my favorite book I haven't read in a few years, and maybe some of the things haven't held well, although the main themes have. So I don't know. Yeah. Bring a book.
Bring a book. Come to church on Sunday, bring a book. We're going to talk about books. We're going to bless some backpacks for starting the school year. Lots of people are going back to school. I'm going back to school.
I'm kind
And
of going back to school, though it's not really like I'm going back to thing,
a thing,
thing. No
are you
homework.
getting homework? Yeah, for real. Yeah,
I'm
homework.
sort of
That'll,
it, right? Like at the end.
yeah,
It's more practical. So yeah, I was just going back to school. Let's
there you
call
go.
it. Yeah,
Going back to school. So you have some closing words for us.
I sure do. This is from one of the assigned readings in my non-class. Jen Richardson, How the Stars Get in Your Bones.
Oh, Jan Richardson. I keep making all these like noises and faces this week. I need to stop that. Okay, Mo, cut all this silliness out.
This is a poem called Constellation. Consider that the heart holds its own constellation. Consider that it has a secret chamber radiant with unspent light. Consider this when you cannot find that one star, that dream that compels you to the road. When every last thing seems to have disappeared into dark, Consider that you cannot always know how you bear this brightness, but that it holds you, and it is not wasted or lost. See how we share the sky, how it stretches above us, beyond every border, how every day turns each of us in steady revolution through morning, night, morning again. Or think of it like this, that every heart is its own harbor, sending its vessels out, drawing them back again, never by the same way they went, but still somehow making for home, that place that shimmers now in welcome with all the gathered light you had thought you couldn't see.